another edition of Future Leaders Podcast, where we're always speaking to individuals who have had a great experience in leadership that can inspire and empower you to continue with your journey. So today I have a privilege of talking to a great friend, have much past working together and doing some great things in our community. And so I asked him to come through, and he's going to share some great things about his experience in his life of what he does as far as in helping others in our community. So today I have a great privilege to speak to my guy, Donald Lee. So Don, if you don't mind, let's give a quick introduction of who you are, man.
Thank you, first and foremost, Brother Steve, for having me on the Future Leaders Podcast. My name is Donald Lee of D-Lee Ministries. I am a Rock Hillian as of about 18 years ago. Okay. So been here, met my beautiful wife. She's born and raised in Rock Hill. We have a outreach and a community-based ministry, and we specialize on building people from the inside out. Wow. You know, first and foremost, people always say, where's your church? People always say, where do you fellowship at? And I understand we need church. I'm not against the church, but I understand that people need to be built from the inside out before we try to get into the church. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I got 4 children. 3 of them are adults, Stephen. Oh, man. 3 adult children, a son that's a senior in high school. So a lot of ups, a lot of downs in this thing called life. You know what I mean? Yes. But I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed, man. And once again, thank you for considering me to be a guest on your podcast today.
Man, it's such an honor, man. I admire all you do, man. I've seen you over the years and how we've connected, and I just love to see that your grind is not just about self, but it's all about how you can be selfless to help and to help others out there. So I want to kind of just dive, like what you said, you ministry. When you think of ministry, what does ministry mean to you?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear ministry is service.
Yes.
So a lot of people, they look at ministry and they automatically think about the stage.
Yes.
They automatically think about the perks. They automatically think about the good, the highlights. But ministry is really all about service. Yes. Because the greatest example of ministry came from the one and only Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Because
he understood he had a 3-year assignment on this earth. Yes. He understood that he was going to impact, he was going to influence, he was going to empower, but he had a short time, 3 years, to get it done. And he got it done in 3 years to what many people have tried their whole life to get done and still struggling to get it done.
Yeah, so man, you hit it right on the head. So it's not about being in the pulpit, even though we may have seen those as ministers, us most of them here, which is true, but their job is to serve the people.
Absolutely.
And so as what Jesus did, he used an example when he washed the feet of his disciples.
Yes.
He showed you sometimes you got to get your hands dirty.
Yes. And what I love about that, and heard an analogy today, Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him, but yet he still, in the midst of it, chose to get low and wash his feet, knowing that he was going to betray him. So often, we in this culture, we don't want to get low. We want folks to acknowledge us here, but folks got to get low. See, me and you did some work in the community 2010, 2011. That was well over 13 years ago. So people see things I'm doing now. They're like, oh, I'm proud of you. We glad you're doing it. But they don't know some things that I'm doing now is just something I've started 20 years ago, even before I moved to Rocky. So people see your now, but they don't know your process. And a lot of times, leadership in itself is a process. Because you're not going to always start at the top of anything. You got to work your way up.
Yes, you hit it right on the head. Staying committed to the process of growth. I think about, we both studied with John Maxwell. One of the great things I love about John Maxwell, as you see, he's not the sharpest on the team. But he said, I do 3 things well. And he just do those things. But he allowed those around him to excel, and he served them to make sure that they're great at their pieces. So when it's all said and done, the team wins and win big because everybody's playing their part. And so this kind of asking you, because we, like I said, we both studied some things from John Maxwell, who I was classified as being one of the greatest in the area of leadership. Something that you may have gotten that you say is a standout that you've gotten from his teaching? What's something that you can say?
I would say he has a teaching. He has a book, and I'm actually licensed to teach on this. It's called Everyone Communicates, but a Few Connect.
Wow.
Everybody communicates, Stephen, but a few connect. Mm-hmm. So we got to learn how to connect with people. Mm-hmm. Okay? Let me give you an example. Okay. There's somebody watching this podcast that have never heard of me before, never heard of you before, but something we're going to say, it's going to allow them to connect with us on a whole other level. Mm-hmm. We both have the gift of communication, but can we both connect with individuals? See, a lot of people want to communicate. They want to use big words. They want to break down the Greek, the Hebrew, and it's phenomenal. Yeah. But if you cannot connect with your audience, mm-hmm. your communication is really in vain. Yeah. So I love where John says everyone communicates, but a few connect. So in that study, it teaches us the art of connection. Okay, we're in a world where everybody texts us. We're in a world where you get Facebook messages. I'm old school. I'm 43 years old. I ain't too old school. Call me. Yes. Here's the thing. Most of the people that's texting us got our telephone number. Yeah. So they would rather text you. They would rather inbox you because they don't have the art of connection. But they want to have the art of communication. Anybody can go live for 3 minutes and give you a sermon. But can you connect with people on any level? Can you connect with folks at their lowest point in their life? Or do you got to wait till everything is good to connect with people?
Wow. Man, that's good stuff. I think you're hitting right on home. I think one of my truest, when I started getting serious about my walk, and I think it connected with me when I got under Bishop Crump. I've been in church most of my life, but the simplest way he made it, I guess he always say he talked to you like you at a third grade level. Sometimes when we talking to people at a high level, we're speaking over their heads. But when you simplify it, almost like you reading a story or reading a book. You know what I'm saying? So you bring it to life to where it's so simple where I can see what you're saying.
Yes.
And that really, that helped me in my walk. I thought for years I've heard different people preaching, but he simplified it so much. It's almost like, man, I can see the story.
Yes.
It came to light to me. And I think that's when I really started getting serious about my walk with Christ. Is when it spoke to me on a level that I can understand.
I love it. So I follow a pastor right now. His name is Dr. Darius Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Very high level, very high intelligent. Mm-hmm. He has an earned doctorate from Princeton. Yes. But when he teaches and when he preaches, my 21-year-old daughter understands it. My 22-year-old son understands it. He breaks it down so simple to where you don't have to be up here to get what he's saying. Yeah. I think we've lost the art of connecting with people all across the board. Because we want people to be so impressed with us, Steve, but we don't want them to understand the art of connection once again. Everyone can communicate. See, we grew up in a time in the black church. Can I just say this? Yeah, sure. We are expected to preach. Oh, yeah. We expected to hoop. We expected to holler. But everybody don't learn that way. Everybody don't teach that way. And just because you are of the African American descent and you speak well, let me just debunk a myth here. You shouldn't be just called a preacher because your communication can go further than just the pulpit once again.
Yes, so true. And so asking you this about you. So now that you, even though you've got your license in ministry and things like that as a pastor and those things, what's some of the areas that you see yourself, not just being in the pulpit, but how do you serve? What's some ways that you do go about it?
Thank you for asking. First and foremost, I will still serve in a local church. I'm never against a local church. Now, I am particular about where I serve at in a local church.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, not all local churches have the same message or same vision.
Exactly.
So I still serve in the local church.
Exactly.
I also serve in the schools, okay? anytime a school will reach out to me, I'll go in and talk to the students, give them a little of my story. Another place that I serve, in the marketplace, or my 9 to 5, as I'm helping my employer accomplish goals. Of course, that's feeding me because they're giving me we're doing an exchange here. Exactly. I'm doing a sale, or I'm doing what I'm called to do per their guidelines, and I'm getting a check for it. So we're making an exchange. So I'm serving on a job. I serve in my community any chance that I get. I serve in the homeless shelters. I'm on the board of directors of a local homeless shelter. So any opportunity that I serve, well, here's what I am learning though. Everything and everybody ain't for me. Good stuff. So I'm learning in leadership that just because it looks good, that doesn't mean it's for me. Let me say it again. Okay. We cannot be all things to everybody. Exactly. And just like all things can't be everything to us. Did you catch that?
Oh, yes, I'm with you.
The problem is, and I'm not trying to rag on anybody, we try to make ministry and serving and leadership a new culture thing. If God didn't call you to it, don't jump for it. Don't go to it. Because your assignment is different. Your assignment might be different in South Carolina. It might be a different assignment in Texas. Your assignment may be different in Florida. Everyone has a different assignment.
You really hit on something, because when I was at one ministry, I served in deacon. I served in a lot of different out front person.
Yeah.
But when I transitioned to another ministry, I had a lot of gifts, you would say, but I did not feel like I needed to go to that ministry to fix them. But I just learned, I sat for about a year or so, and this, if I needed to help or serve here and there, I jumped in to help. But I still, even now, don't feel that I have to poke my chest out and say, since I have experience working over men's ministries and things like that, I come to save the day. No, but I'll add my supply as needed. But doesn't mean because you have a gift or a talent that you have to be so voiceful and to give your opinion if you see they don't operate the way you're accustomed to. And I've seen that sometimes in others, whether it's in the church or anywhere. You got some of us who may have had certain experiences, which is good, but you have to be slowful of feeling that you have the answer.
Yes.
And so if you can't speak to a little bit of what's some ways that even if someone has a gift or talent, how would you recommend going about serving others that you may say, hey, I don't always agree, but I still want to make sure I don't overstep, but I can be a great number 2, even under a great number 1.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love talking about number 2s. Because, see, Joseph was a bad number 2 to Pharaoh. Everybody talks about Joseph, but they forget that Joseph was the number 2 man. Once Pharaoh identified the gift in Joseph, oh, you was able to interpret his dream. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. Pharaoh immediately said, I'm going to put you in charge. Why should I bring somebody else from the outside to do what I know you're capable of doing? But here's the problem. We don't walk in enough humility to understand. Now, no bragging, no boasting. I could probably go in any ministry here in this city and utilize my gift. But that doesn't mean every ministry in the city needs my gift. Did you catch what I'm saying?
I got you.
We think that our gift is exclusive to certain rooms. When once again, the gift that God gave me, it's a marketplace gift. It's a gift for the homeless shelter. It's a gift for the community. So it's not just boxed in for the church. So you got to use humility wherever you at. So on a job, for example, you just said something so powerful. I started a new job about 2 months ago. I went in a job, and can I be very transparent here? Can I be very vulnerable here?
No doubt.
I go in the door, and immediately I see 10 things that I can fix. Okay? I worked 30 days. I didn't say anything. I worked 60 days. I didn't say anything. I'm like, Lord. So this week while I was out, let me tell you how God worked. I took a day. I had jury duty this week. A fight broke out in the office. Grown people.
Oh, man.
Grown people. God said, there's an opportunity for you now. They don't really know the gift that's in you, but now you have an opportunity to share. So I go to the director of the sales team. I said, I don't know if you know this or not, but I want to tell you a little about myself. I'm a certified John Maxwell speaker, coach, and trainer. I said, there's a course that I teach called Everyone Communicates, but a Few Connects. And she says, wow. I says, now, I'm not suggesting this to you. I said, but in this climate, we just had a big incident yesterday. I think we need to talk about connection and communication because somewhere along the line, we missed the mark. Yes. I said, now, I can send you a proposal, what I charge to do this. We can contract it or set it up however you want to do. I said, but I'm willing to do a 30-minute lunch and learn just for you and your immediate team. You know what she said? She says, write it up and get it to me, and I'll sit down with you next week to discuss it. So an opportunity came. Now, 2 months ago, I couldn't go in there day one with my accolades, with my credentials, but an opportunity came for me to share something that I know that could add value to the team that I work for, the team that I serve on. Now, is it going to benefit me in an exchange? Yes, but the gift is already there, and the gift going to work in the corporate office.
Man, you said something so good. I was just talking about Joseph, and what you just said was what we were talking about. When the not the butler, but the cupbearer,
he forgot about him.
But he had to at that time because there wasn't no need.
Jesus.
If he would have came out of prison
and
told Pharaoh about
it would have been
Joseph,
premature.
He had no need.
He had no need.
He had to wait for the need
Jesus.
to present itself. Sometimes we have to be patient enough to wait for the need before we put a seed or put something in the ground. Because if you just do it prematurely, you get no result. What would have been the incentive for Pharaoh to bring Joseph out of prison at that time? He had to wait till a situation came about for him to see the value of what Joseph had.
You know something else that John Maxwell always says? Leadership is all about influence.
So true.
Okay, so if leadership is about influence, I don't need just to have a title to be influential. Because the one who spoke his name used his influence to rise somebody else up. I want to ask somebody that's watching this podcast, what position are you in right now and you are underutilizing or overutilizing your influence? Some of us are very much underutilizing the gifts because we see pastor, we see bishop, we see this person doing it every Sunday performing, and we're saying there's no way we can do that. But maybe that's not what God called us to do.
Yeah. I put it like this. Bishop Jake said it like this. What bothers you is what you have been called to fix.
It's what you've been called to fix.
Administration may be your area. It may not be. You may say, well, man, I've been gifted with the ability. For instance, when I came to the ministry, I used to, at one point in time, used to be over at me in the ministry. Every fourth Sunday, we would do all the different exhilarations around the church. So singing to the ushering from the parking lot, from your car to the inside, we took care of that 100%. Everything was like on point. So the ministry I'm at, I see some areas where I'm like, man, I can be able to help there. They didn't come to fix it. But if I can add my supply there, then hey, let me jump in. It may not be the one that you can get that'll go boy, but if you can add your help and you got an area that you can support, then get in there. And you'll be surprised what other opportunities will present itself once you get in the game. But you can never do anything for the sidelines.
You never do it.
You have to get in the game.
And you got to be willing
Yes.
to get your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So I just completed a 12-week course.
Okay.
We were pinned last week. It actually ended up being 16 weeks, but under Darius Daniels Change Church, and it was open to men anywhere. It don't matter what church affiliation you had.
Okay.
It was free, Brother Steve.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times we make excuses, but it was free. 12 weeks was free. His one criteria was you could not miss no more than 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
He said they did it on purpose because he wanted to see how accountable you're willing to be to the process.
Yes.
So you give a 1 hour a week for 12 weeks, which turned to 16 weeks, obviously. And then we were pinned last Sunday, and it was a beautiful thing to see men come back together.
Yes.
In Atlanta, Georgia. They did the second set of men this week in New Jersey, because here's the thing. Men are hungry for more than what they see. And people have given up on men. People have said, oh, there are no men in church. There are no good men. Yes, it is. You got to be willing to dig. It might not look good. They might got some scars and some scratches and some bruises. Because we also have trust issues, right?
Exactly.
Because we might come to somebody else in leadership and share an idea. One or two things going to happen. Maybe one or three things. They're going to overlook us. They're going to take our idea and run with it and try to take credit. Or they're not going to do nothing with it. And that's going to cause strife. So it's hard for us as men to get into a place of real leadership. But we are called to be leaders in our homes, in our churches, in our community, in our family. We have so much to offer.
We've been called to something great, and all of us have potential. I would say this. Potential is not, oh man, it was crazy. I was watching a podcast, every time I was doing a podcast. And I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, CJ said, potential is not something to, to celebrate.
Yes.
Because all of us have potential. All of us have potential. But what we have to be willing to do is to stay committed to doing our best long term for it to develop and to become influential. And so I say all that is we as men, I find it so that we have a trust issue, but some of us are, we've been sheltered to the point, especially those who've been raised by women. Sometimes it's been, it's okay, boy. I always say you got the nipple, got the nipple still in your mouth, but that's another conversation. But we have to get to the point where we're able to deal with whatever life has us. And so sometimes life is tough. Sometimes it's not going to always be easy, but we cannot point the finger and say this is somebody else's fault. We can't blame the white man. We can't blame nobody else for the hand we've been dealt. We have to face it and deal with it, whether it's ugly, whether it's not fair, someone took advantage of you, but still deal through that, because on the other side of that is the success we want to reach. But we have to be willing to stay in the course, stay to the process long enough to get to the place where we now can get to the place of we're winning. And so that's always been my thing since back years ago when we first got together. We was part of a program called Brothers, in which we served our community, especially during the time of the recession when a lot of people were losing their jobs, a lot of tough times were coming. And someone came to you and said, a young lady, I think it was.
It was a lady.
She came to you, and what was that she offered?
Brothers need brothers.
Yeah.
She gave me an idea in 2010, and she says, I want you to run with it, D. Lee. And we ran with it. We did like 3 sessions. Yeah. Brothers need brothers. Because we understood then that men need men.
Yes.
Men need men. Yes. Like, man, the journey that people see me walking now, once we talked about earlier, it's a 20-year process. Yeah. Let me share this. For those that are watching, I've been bankrupt twice. Had to stand in front of a judge, declare bankruptcy. Twice in my life. I'm only 43. Been divorced. Had to rebuild. Yeah. Start over. Lost multiple jobs. Lost multiple cars. had a child outside of my marriage. So there are so many things in my life that I've had to overcome to get to where I am now. But people look at the highlight reel, but they don't know the dark days. They don't know losing my mother 2 years ago to COVID. They don't know family drama. They don't know situations that I still struggle with, insecurity, or don't feel like I got enough. But I got to keep going. I got to keep showing up, because if I show up, then my gifts are going to be on display. Not just for my glory, but for the glory of God. See, everybody want to get the bag. And I want the bag. But it's stuff you got to go through. It's the in-between. We talked about Joseph. Everybody loves the ending of Joseph. But nobody wants to be the Joseph that was ridiculed by his brothers, thrown in a pit by his brothers, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, in prison. Nobody wants to be that Joseph. They want to be the Joseph that was number 2 in command. But you got to go through some stuff to get to where God desires for you to be. And that's all part of the plan.
So let me ask you this, man, because this is, we want to try to help someone who's on the sideline, who's looking up, maybe also got some things going, but they really need some direction on how do I, what's the routine, or some things they need to be doing to stay committed to see growth and see things happen in life. What's some things that are part of your routine that you do that kind of keep you in the fight?
So I'm going to give somebody a simple answer. It's going to sound simple, but you got to be committed to it.
Okay.
Get somebody in your life that's going to hold you accountable. That's number one. You don't need 10 people to hold you accountable. You need one person that's going to look you in your face and say, bro, you slipping. Bro, this ain't you. But then, once you find something you're good at, stay consistent. Listen, you have a business where you cut grass in my neighborhood. You cut grass. You're in my neighborhood very often. There ain't many days you ain't see me walking in my neighborhood. I use that for an example. So I went to the doctor during COVID, and the doctor told me how I was overweight, my blood pressure, my numbers, everything was all out of whack. I started little, walking a quarter of a mile, 2 miles, 3, got up to 5 miles. But then I did it consistently, Brother Steve. 5 days a week, or 2 days a week, 3 days a week, then up to 5. Whatever you're doing, you got to be consistent. And consistency don't look the same for everybody.
Man, I was thinking about that today. I'm glad you opened that door, because I wanted to talk about this. Because it not only did it affect you, but I've seen multiple members of your family walking while I'm over there. Kind of tap on that, man, because I was that right there, it speaks for itself. This is how your commitment changes the lives of your house.
See, it starts with one.
Yes.
So, me and my wife both were dealing with health issues, weight issues. So my wife said, look, what do we got to do together? So our schedules are crazy, but we just decided to put routines in place. Don't get me wrong, we still like to eat good. Yes. We like to drink like some, we like to be merry. But we understand we can't do it all the time. And when we do decide we're going to do it, we got to balance it out with some cardio, with some exercise. And now even my daughter, every night she's walking. My sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, everybody's walking because they understand the power of a consistent lifestyle. Not that we're perfect. My wife picks on me. She says, well, you need to hit some weights. I ain't got the six pack. She'll joke about it, but I do what works for me. That's another thing. I'm not going to compare my journey to somebody else's journey. They got the six pack because maybe that ain't my calling right now. Now, I do some push-ups. I get my push-ups in. But I ain't no weightlifting guy. But everybody got what makes them do what they do. Just do something. And I'm not the health guru. I'm not advocating that you got to do it 7 days a week. But we got to do something.
Man, that's awesome, man. I was thinking about that. Because I was like, Because I didn't know your daughter had moved down. I said,
Yeah.
I think that's Donald Lee's daughter.
Yeah.
Because you still walking.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and then that was your daughter.
Yeah.
But I seen how you stayed committed. And that's the great thing about it. I always say Matthew 5:16 always says, so let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. By you letting your light shine, you staying committed to that process, it attracted others who want to join that journey with you. Mm-hmm.
You said something, and I'll say this. So probably before, and I'm not tooting my horn, but I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
Before doing videos was popular.
Okay.
Reels and I was doing videos.
Exactly. You see you walking doing that?
I was doing videos. Before it was popular to do videos, right? So I've gotten phone calls from people.
Wow.
Probably over the last 2 years. Won't call names, but they says your videos really encourage me in ways that you would never know. And I'm like, okay, but it's just a video.
Yeah.
So that pushes me to keep going. Even when I'm tired. Even when I feel like nobody's liking it, nobody's watching it. But then I'll get an inbox. I'll get a text message. I'll get a phone call. They say, man, your videos inspire me. Then I'll see them doing videos. Yeah. It's not that I feel like they're copying me, but they'll do videos because God is talking to them. So I feel like I've started something in even that arena, and I'm grateful for it.
Yes.
Now, I don't claim to be the master of it because it's not mine. But I feel like I'm a trendsetter. Does that make sense? And I'm okay with being a trendsetter.
And man, that speaks volume, man. You never know the thing that you do, even when sometimes you don't want to do it.
Oh my God.
How it can be able to bless people without you knowing.
Yeah.
The seed they can be able to birth and just goes beyond yourself. And so I just kind of wanted just to ask you, just to kind of speak to the people, just to kind of give us something to close out on to encourage them along their journey. What's something that you say, man, when you speak to yourself, when you're going through your go-through in life, the thing that hit you in the Facebook, what's something that you just dig deep and say, man, what's something that you say to yourself?
So I want to say life is all about a journey. We're going to have some good days. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have days where we ain't going to got that bed. We're going to have days to where it seems like everything and everybody's coming up against us. But if we continually to go through the process of life, the journey eventually, I'm not going to say it's getting easier, it gets smoother. Now, the walk is not as hard as it was 2 years ago.
Wow.
So now there's areas that I got to challenge myself in to max out there. You catch what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because once you're good or get comfortable in one area, you cannot stay there. That's for another time. You cannot be good in an area and just float there. Because now the next thing is, what else are you capable of doing? What else did God place inside of you to do? So I want to encourage somebody to tell you that life is going to throw some jabs at you. It's going to be full of surprises, but life is a journey. And if you ride this journey, and if you ride it with a sincere heart, you can truly have heaven on earth. Awesome. Not the day we close our eyes, not the day everybody's screaming over the casket, but I want to live heaven on earth, Brother Steve.
Yes. I truly believe that, man. I always say, don't be like a woman on their wedding. I mean, the small things are not working. So guess what? Out of all this they invested into it, they missed the beauty of this moment. So enjoy what life gives you. Whether if it's going the way you want to, but just find a good and stick to it and enjoy that good and make the best of everything we got now. If someone wanted to connect with you, how can they find out more about you, man?
So you can go to anything social media, DLEA Ministries, that's DLEA Ministries, or go to our website at www.dleaministries.com. DLEA Ministries, we are a ministry of hope, we are a ministry of power, and we are a ministry of truth. I want to thank you again. I know our schedules have been crazy, but I am grateful that you had me on today. Man. And can I close with one more thing? Because I know our schedule's been crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't like to use busy.
No.
Because everybody's busy. We've been productive in our own rights. So when God allowed us to connect, that's the right time. Yeah. So I want to let somebody know this. Just because somebody is not connecting with you, don't take it personal. It might not be that time. It might not be that season, because everybody is operating in something in this hour. We're in the season where people are more productive. I don't like to use busy than they've ever been before. So I'll say this. When it's God's time, it's God's time.
It's the right time.
It's the right time.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, brother.
I thank y'all so much. I hope y'all were blessed, because I don't know about y'all, but hey, I'm going to watch this again because I got so many good nuggets from what my brother had to share. But if y'all can, please like, please share, and please watch this again, because, it's even better than the second time. So y'all have a phenomenal day. Thank y'all again for watching Future Leaders Podcast. Look forward to seeing you in the future. Great. Yeah, man.